Welcome back, everyone. Imagine an actor jumping onto an old, dusty stage, 600 years too late, and announcing proudly he's part of the play. Indeed, he claims to be one of the main actors, and act he does, but there are some problems. He doesn't really seem to know the script. He appears to take orders from a different stage director, and when he delivers some of his most compelling, original speeches, the crowd shouts, "Those are just old tales." This is, of course, the problem Islam runs into when it claims continuity with biblical theology and history. We're told all of the biblical prophets were, in reality, Muslim prophets, and Muhammad was the final one. Allah revealed the Torah, the Gospel, and then the Quran. There are a number of problems with this absurd idea, and foremost among them is the person of Jesus. Try to make him into an Islamic prophet, and he ends up exposing Islam even more than all the rest. Here are 10 quick reasons why, starting with borrowing. Islamic sources love borrowing. The Quran, for example, borrows from rabbinic folklore, Jewish mysticism, Syriac legends, and of course, for the life of the Quranic Jesus, it borrows from infancy gospels and other traditions that leave much to be desired in terms of their historical credibility. But the Quran's borrowed, piecemeal portrait of Jesus is perhaps even more historically worthless than all the rest. Second, the Quran denies the crucifixion and puts itself against the consensus of historians in doing so. What the Quran affirms in its borrowed, piecemeal portrait of Jesus is wrong, but also what the Quran denies about Jesus, namely the crucifixion, is also wrong. To summarize, what the Quran affirms about Jesus is wrong, and what the Quran denies about Jesus is wrong. This raises the question about what the Quran gets right. The answer to that question is certainly not found in Surah 61:6, where the Quranic Jesus declares, "Surely I am the messenger of God to you, confirming what was before me of the Torah, and bringing good news of a messenger who will come after me, whose name will be Ahmad." By the time we get all the way to Surah 61, the Quran has thoroughly demonstrated its worthless historical testimony about Jesus. At this point, we can only sit back and marvel at the boldness with which it ignorantly proclaims that Jesus brought good news of a messenger named Ahmad, a statement believed by no Jesus scholar ever. This very same verse raises another problem. As David Powers has pointed out, this verse in the Codex of Ubay ibn Ka'b contains a massive textual variant, where the Quranic Jesus said something very different. The Quranic Jesus thus delivers two blows to the Quran in one verse. Jesus talked about a messenger named Ahmad. Yeah, there he is, that actor jumping onto that old dusty stage 600 years too late and claiming the play was all about him. Then there's the title Messiah. What does it mean? The Quran doesn't know, therefore Muslim scholars don't know. Among the 50 guesses are that Jesus was flat-footed, or maybe, he traveled a lot. Both of those guesses, and many others, are equally plausible. And by equally plausible, I mean they all have no chance of being true. What the Quran affirms about Jesus is wrong. What the Quran denies about Jesus is wrong. And about the rest, well, it's just ignorant. Next, according to the earliest sources, Jesus worked miracles. Lots of them. The messenger of the Quran did not. Over and over, the Quran makes clear its messenger is just a plain warner. That is his function. He doesn't perform any signs at all. The people want a sign, but he doesn't give them one because he doesn't have any. He doesn't do signs. He's just a plain warner. The dense cloud of embarrassment that descended on the Muslim world in this respect is apparent in the later literature, where suddenly we're presented with miraculous Muhammad. Give that guy a few hundred years and some imagination, and suddenly he's doing miracles all over the place. Muslims have no problem contradicting the Quran if it elevates Muhammad. Jesus worked miracles according to the earliest sources. Muhammad just didn't have it in him, a problem, as we said, that was fixed with time. So Muhammad didn't do miracles, but he did have some other tricks up his sleeve. That's right, Muhammad was bewitched by a Jew with a hairbrush, and according to dozens of Muslim sources, of course, he recited satanic verses. The embarrassment of modern Muslims on these issues has, of course, resulted in almost universal denial of something that was almost universally believed by early generations of Muslims. Meanwhile, Jesus and his followers were casting out demons. So Muhammad was overpowered by satanic forces that used him like a puppet. Jesus demonstrated power over evil and death itself. Take your pick. Next, in Islam, Jesus is believed to be morally exceptional. In Surah 19, Jesus is called pure, using an adjective that is only used for him in the Quran. Meanwhile, the Quran's messenger is commanded several times to ask forgiveness for sins, something the Quranic Jesus apparently never needed to do. If you're wondering what Muhammad needed to ask forgiveness for, just read the Quran and Hadith for some seriously disturbing answers. We can proceed through these final few quickly. Jesus didn't sleep with a child or permit his followers to do so like Muhammad and the Quran. Jesus also didn't say for men to beat their wives, nor did he buy, sell, or own black slaves. In fact, Jesus advanced an ethic that led to the abolishment of class and social distinctions, an ethic that was already recognized and advanced early in Christian history, as Galatians chapter 3 indicates. The religion of Islam never embraced the ethics of Jesus, which is why slavery still exists in the Muslim world, and wife-beating, and men still sleep with young girls, but that's what you get when you follow a bewitched, satanic verse-reciting prophet who jumped on the stage 600 years too late and claimed continuity with biblical history and theology without having a clue what any of that stuff actually was. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.